Fuel are set to embark on their 10th anniversary season here at the Indiana Farmers Coliseum as we get ready for the 2023-24 season. I am the broadcast voice of the Fuel, Andrew Smith, and I'm proud to be joined by the owner of the Indy Fuel, Jim Hallett. And Jim, as we mentioned, it's year 10, a milestone year for this franchise. And go back to when we launched this 10 years ago and just how special it has been to see this unfold and see the Fuel franchise become such a pillar of the Indianapolis sports community.
Yeah, well, thank you, Andrew, and it's good to be with you. It's amazing how fast time has passed. There's no question 10 years has gone by so fast, and it's really been so much fun. And each year, we continue to see the team do well, continue to see the team do better, see our fan base grow, and see the Indy Fuel really become a household name in the greater Indianapolis community. So it's been a lot of fun. A lot of good players have gone through our system, and we're excited as we head into year 10.
You go back to that first night against Fort Wayne. I'm not sure any of us knew exactly what to expect, but sitting here looking back at that, what may be a favorite moment, a favorite memory, or from the 10 years from that night forward?
Oh my God, there's so many of them. I'll tell you, the worst thing about that opening night is we had a 3-0 lead and wound up losing 5-4 in overtime, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But you know, I think it's just with me, it's still the fans. You know, our fans are so loyal and so dedicated, and win or lose, they're here and they support us game in and game out, and that fan base has just continued to grow each and every year. And I think it's the opportunity when I get the opportunity to chat with the fans, or they come over and want to have a conversation or say hi, it's always a big thank you, and we appreciate what you've done for the city, we appreciate what you've done for hockey, and I'm truly, truly humbled with the amount of attention and respect that we get for bringing hockey back to Indianapolis.
Well, now as we look forward to this season, another really strong hockey team Duncan has put together with a lot of returning players. How does the team look from what you've seen so far this season?
Listen, I've been to a couple of practices this week. The team looks great. The first and foremost is we've got about half of the team is coming back and returning from last year. And then we've recruited. And I think Duncan has done a very good job of recruiting over the summer season. And we had a good team last year, as you mentioned. I think that will be a better team this year. And I think we've been able to build on what we created last year and that team that we took to the playoffs. And I'd be very, very disappointed if we don't have a team that can go deep into the playoffs this year.
Well, you mentioned that season we had last year, and a really hot start, a lot of really great performances, and a lot of faces back. We see Seamus Malone back in the lineup. We see Andrew Ballant, Chase Lang, Kirill Chaika, both goaltenders, Zach Driscoll and Cam Gray, and just go on down the list. There's a number of familiar faces. Cam Hillis is back. And how important is it to have that nucleus of familiar faces from an on-ice perspective, but also because those are players that our fans certainly identify with, and they'll see guys that they know and have come to love on the ice wearing an Indy Fuel sweater here on October 20th.
Yeah, you know, you don't see what happens all the time off the ice. And, you know, you hear sports often talk about he's a great guy in the locker room. What we had is we had a lot of great guys in the locker room last year, and guys that wanted to be here, guys that wanted to hang out together away from the rink, and guys that really wanted to play for the coach and play for each other. And when you get that kind of culture and you can build on that kind of culture, you've got a winning formula.
We've talked before the importance of having the right coach in place because of the recruiting, because of the motivational aspect, because the aspect of putting a team together that Duncan has done. Led the team to the playoffs last year, signed a 2-year extension this summer. How important is it to have somebody who the players love, like Duncan, who has proven to be an excellent coach at this level, in place, putting this team together and leading this team day after day?
Yeah, well, the first thing is Duncan's a player's coach, and he knows and understands the player. Duncan played at an elite level himself. He was an all-star defenseman when he played, and he's a passionate guy. He really loves and cares about these guys beyond hockey. He cares about their families, and he cares about them, and just just their physical and mental status. He's a guy that really cares a lot, and it really shows up. Now he can light you up in a minute too, but the guys get it. But guys like playing for him. And I think the thing is, with more than half the team coming back from last year, the system's in place. So it's not recreating a whole new system of how and what type of game you're going to play. That's already established coming into the season, and we brought players in that will fit that system and play in that system. And I think it's just a big advantage. And yeah, we've signed Dunks to another 2 years. Excited to have him, and hopefully he brings us a championship and we sign him for a bunch more years.
Last year, on the ice, the product was fantastic. Off the ice, the entertainment product is always fantastic. But it felt like every weekend night, from December through most of the rest of the season, this building was full. And we see that momentum carry into the off season. Describe how the ticket sales have been, and it's looking like the Indy Fuel may be a tough ticket again this year in our final year in the Indiana Farmers Coliseum.
Yes, Andrew, we did have a big jump in ticket sales last year, and we had record attendance last year. And as you mentioned, Friday, especially Saturday nights, it was tough to get a ticket. And this building holds 6,500 people. And not only did we grow 25% last year, our season ticket sales are already up another 25% going into this year. So we expect this place to be rocking, and we expect to have a lot of games that are either sellouts or near sellouts based on the activity that we're seeing now. The other thing, just as a side note, I'll mention that may be helping move ticket sales a little bit is we go into the new arena in Fishers next year. I like to say we have to take care of the people that brought us to the dance. And what we're going to do is we're going to allocate those tickets based on season ticket holders, and half-season ticket holders are going to have first opportunity to select their seats. So if people have a half season or a full season, or you might want to get in line now and get that ticket now, because that's the ticket that's going to determine the ticket that you're able to achieve next year.
Well, speaking of the new building next year, obviously this is our final year in the Indiana Farmers Coliseum. We'll talk more about that here in a moment, but what's the excitement level of moving into the event center in Fishers and the opportunities that this is going to bring for the franchise, but also for our fans to be able to enjoy hockey in what's going to be a first-class new building?
Yeah, it's more than hockey. It's an event center. So there's going to be much more than hockey in that building. There's going to be close to 150 events over the course of a year. But the Indy Fuel are going to be the anchor tenant. And I think it's going to be exciting for not only our fans, I think it's going to be exciting for our players. It's going to have a building that's going to have all of the trends that are in place, how people like to watch professional sports and how they like to be seated with, there'll be premium seating, there'll be, your suites. We have 21 suites, and we've already sold more than half of those. And so the buzz is there. There's a real buzz. And, when people think about the food and beverage offerings and the facilities, just the space around you, it's just going to be an incredible building.
Well, as we look forward to our second decade and starting in a new facility, look back at our first decade here in the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, obviously a historic building. It's the oldest building that's currently being used in professional hockey. And the fairgrounds have been such great partners for the Indy Fuel from day one. Just describe the relationship that you have had with the fairgrounds and just how special this building has been to be the home of the Indy Fuel for the first 10 years.
Yeah, I love this building. This is the kind of arena that I grew up watching hockey in, and there's something nostalgic about these older buildings that they bring a certain element of history with them, and this building has a lot of history, and it's been great for us. And we're not leaving because we're unhappy. We're leaving just because we need to take that next level in terms of entertainment. But as far as the building and as far as playing hockey here, the guys love playing here. They love the building, and the fans love the building. And we'll miss this building. And it's really, I want to give a shout out to Cindy Hoy and her staff. They've just been wonderful to work with. We've had a great 10-year relationship, and in many ways it's sad to leave this behind, but we also know that if we're going to continue to grow and grow the sport, not only in the local community but in an expanded community, I think it's an opportunity that we have to take advantage of.
Well, we talk about growing the sport. That's something else that you have been committed to from day one, and building the sport at all ages, from the grassroots all the way up through the professional level. And that starts with the Junior Fuel organization that really oversees almost all of the youth hockey in central Indiana now. And obviously you own the fuel tank in Fishers, one of the rinks where junior hockey is played, but also the Junior Fuel organization is in several other areas as well. And just describe how that, from the little kids and learn to skate all the way up through the junior level, has helped grow hockey in central Indiana. And hopefully someday soon we're going to see somebody who's an alum of the Junior Fuel wearing an Indy Fuel sweater.
Well, interesting enough, we've got a player in camp who is a Westfield native. And we're looking forward to having our first Westfield or Greater Indianapolis born and bred player on the team, so that will be a big deal going forward. But listen, it starts with the kids. It starts at the grassroots level, as you mentioned, and providing the facilities and providing the ice time and providing the coaching that we've done. Kids have really become interested in the game, and kids tend to want to do what their friends do. I have a grandson who wants to play hockey because his best friend is playing hockey, and that real opportunity. We have a learn to skate program that takes place up at the Fuel. I don't have all the details on it, but I can tell you on the learn to skate program, there's often 300 kids there in an evening taking skating lessons and learning to skate. I'll tell you, we have kids up there that are on skates that are 2 years old. So that's the way we kind of like it. We want them born right into it.
And obviously, those are our future fans as well. Hopefully, we may see, and we'll see some future players out of that organization, but also it just helps grow the game at all levels. And the people who are playing hockey right now, they're coming to games with their parents, and 15, 20 years from now, they'll be the ones taking their kids to the games as well.
Yeah, and again, Indy has been very supportive, and hockey is among the fastest growing youth sports across the country. And I think we have a lot to look forward to here in this coming season. I think it's going to be a great season.
Well, Jim, how excited are you for this 10th anniversary season to drop the puck here in the next few days?
Yeah, well, a couple nights from now, we're going to be playing a couple exhibition games down in Cincinnati, and I like to win those games too. Okay. So anyway, I appreciate you, Andrew, and all that you do for the Fuel and our fans, and look forward to getting to a championship at some point in time here.
Looking forward to that as well. Jim Hallett, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, and enjoy this season.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andrew.
That's the owner of the Indy Fuel, Jim Hallett. I am Andrew Smith. Thanks for joining us today.